As a continuation of my first guide showing you guys how to drift with the new physics in GTA Online, I wanted to make a follow-up video showcasing some gameplay of all 7 new drift races with 7 of the new drift cars, all while showing a controller camera so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. At the same time, I'm going to be providing you with some commentary about the controls I'm using and how I'm planning out my lines so I can get the highest scores possible. Now before we get into the gameplay, I want to make a few quick notes. First off is that all of the cars that you see me using in the gameplay are the stock cars that you could select in the race lobby. Because I was using an alt account on PC so I could get the controller camera gameplay, I didn't have the money to afford upgrading each car beforehand, so because of this, some of the cars were definitely down on power and felt a little bit more boaty due to their stock suspension, but I did make sure I practiced a ton before recording each run so I could get the best gameplay possible for you guys. And that kind of leads into my second point here, which is that obviously I'm not the best drifter in this game, and like many of you guys, I'm still getting used to the new drifting physics. However, I do think I have a pretty good hold on things. Really, this video isn't meant to be the perfect one-to-one guide for getting the highest score in these drift races, but rather to show you guys how I think when I'm drifting and the controls I'm using. With that said, I hope this video provides you with some valuable insight, and let's get into the drifting gameplay. Alrighty boys, kicking it off with the first race, a hill to die on with the ZR350. And again, these cars are all going to be stock, so I'm going to do my best to get as many points as I can, and just to show you guys roughly how I would handle a lot of these lines. So here we're going to try to hit that start boost so that way we get as much momentum going forward as possible. Cut right and then cut left because these are big sweeping turns, and in order to build up a little bit of momentum, you're going to start with a little bit shallow angle and then start holding as much angle as you possibly can. Use the handbrake just to get the car sliding around that because it's going to want to grip up for these longer turns. It's going to want to, you know, grip up and straighten out, and especially because the suspension is stock, that doesn't help either. But now we're falling into the groove with some nice smooth transitions. Swing it really wide here, a little bit of a dirt drop, left foot brakes to slow the car down just a little bit, and here for the really precise adjustments we're going to use the handbrake. There we go, nice and smooth through here. Long transition, and then again handbrake just to get the car around that, because the handbrake helps a lot in restricting your speed a little bit more than left foot braking, because with left foot braking you're getting more angle but you're still getting power to the ground, so the car's going to still move, whereas the handbrake almost acts a little bit more like a clutch and it restricts the car's motion a lot more. So especially if you're trying to get like really tight through really tight turns and through like precision drift zones and things like that, that's when you're going to want to use the left foot, or the handbrake rather, not the left foot braking. Left foot braking is when you have a little bit more room, especially here, and you just want to kind of swing it a little bit wider, so I'm using some left foot braking there. Transition here, and then I'm going to use the handbrake just to keep the car loose. Transition again, that wasn't the cleanest way to handle that because again the car is kind of down on power because it's bone stock, but now we're going to fall into a groove doing some nice smooth wide transitions going down this hill. And the thing about this is that gravity is doing the work for you, because gravity is pulling the car down the hill for you. So, you know, you can keep it controlled and smooth on the throttle and then just focus on throwing a lot of angle, because here's the spot where you can do it, because, you know, you don't need to worry about using a lot of the handbrake or doing a lot of micro adjustments unless you really need to. You could just focus on throwing lots and lots of angle because your car will slow down just kind of automatically, which is nice. Swing it really wide here. We're going to use a little bit of handbrake just so that we don't spin out. Here we go. We're going to snap it out wide, use the left foot brakes just to get the butt out. And then we're going to swing right into this little green zone here. Use the handbrake for some of these small precise adjustments to slow the car down. Same thing here so you don't hit the barriers, and we want to slow the car down a bit. Keep it nice and controlled. Here we're going to swing it wide, and then we're going to try to get the butt just past this pylon. Didn't do the best job of that, but that's okay. We're going to throw it really wide going into this. Use the handbrake just to keep the car loose. And then here we're going to be using a lot of the left foot braking just to go smooth and controlled. It's a bit more of a, you know, smooth zone, so we can use a lot more left foot braking just to get the angle that we need, so that way we keep as many points as possible. And here we're going to take a lot of angle through this turn, so that way we can only transition once when going through the center section. Use the handbrake, get it out wide once again. Here we're going to use the brakes again, left foot brake around there to get that precision drift, and here we're going to use the brakes just to kind of swing the car out wide. There we go. And then right through here, use the handbrake, get behind those pylons, there we go. And then this section is a lot of like wide turns, which isn't obviously going to be the cleanest thing in the world, especially with the car being stock and not having any power upgrades, but still we're handling it pretty well. It feels a lot like the Forza drift zones here, where you just kind of pick random lines because the turns are too wide to drift through, but that's okay. Again, just kind of picking preemptively where you're going to want to start switching directions, and then doing it. And then of course, you know, implementing the standard like handbrake just to keep the car loose and to extend the drift slightly, and then using the left foot brakes as well just to get a little bit more angle with it. Here we're going to use a little bit more left foot braking just because, you know, we want to keep the car nice and wide on these transitions so we can maximize our points, because it is really long turns. We're going to have to manji a lot just to keep the car sideways going, you know, in between them. Left foot brakes there we go. Brakes there. I'm going to use some more brakes here. It's almost like we're doing a rolling burnout, but you guys see why I'm doing it, so that way we can drift smoothly and not hit the medians. Obviously not the best in terms of points, but I still think we're doing pretty well. Here we go. Last few manjis, and we have finished the race. Dang, that was really smooth, honestly. I thought we were going to crash in a couple spots, but I think we recouped and we kept it pretty smooth. We got almost, what, like 290,000 points? Pretty solid. Alrighty, boys, here we go. We've got Beach Slap in the Drift Tampa, and this is going to be a pretty interesting race. I didn't choose the Drift Tampa specifically for this, but I think it'll help because it's a little bit snappier and quicker in general. And that'll help because we're drifting on sand, so kind of the dynamics of drifting, especially in this case because the racing surface is different, it's going to be a little bit interesting handling the car around this. For a lot of these bigger sections here, we're going to be using more of the left foot braking just so we can get the car wide. It'll also help us keep the speed controlled, so that way we can kind of plot out what we're going to do when we're gonna, you know, go to the next checkpoint. But yeah, it just allows you to strategize a bit more, and it's nice and slow and smooth. For these snappy transitions, just to get the car rotating quickly, it is kind of dependent on the car, but you can use the handbrake kind of to speed up the process of transitioning. And also the handbrake, when we get into these really precise zones, the handbrake will allow us to do the adjustments that we want, and it'll almost act like a clutch dump, especially through here when you're using a lot of, you know, a lot of power just to get through there. You are losing a lot of wheel speed, so the handbrake kind of helps get the car wide. Ooh, we kind of wall tapped there, but we didn't lose the multiplier. That's all right. I thought we were going to get the points there, but we swung a little bit too wide. Again, it's just a matter of getting used to like the sandy surface, because it is a little bit different than normal asphalt. But anyway, drifting all the way through here, keeping it nice and wide. Beyond the really technical spots, I mean, we're just keeping it nice and smooth. We're not really worrying about using much of the handbrake, but when we want to get like really tight adjustments, as I've said time and time again, we're going to use the handbrake just to do those. There we go. Nice precision drift zone. A little bit into that green zone, didn't go as wide as we should have, but that's okay. Here, it's a little bit weird because it goes into a really narrow section, so we're going to manji a lot just to restrict our wheel speed, so that way we can get kind of positioned. And again, we're just going to like kind of plan out what we're going to do next, and then we're back onto the sand. So yeah, just keep it nice and smooth with the transitions, go really, really wide, use as much of the course as you possibly can. And here we're going to swing it wide, you know, so that way we can get into this green zone back here. Go up a little bit, and here we're gonna pull out a little bit less angle, so that way we can just get the car through this narrow zone here past these rocks. Use the handbrake again for a nice snappy transition around here, so that we can hit that inner zone. Don't slow down too much as well, because it'll either kill your drift like it did right there, or your car's just gonna fully slow down and stop. So you can use the handbrake for those micro adjustments just to get it really close there. We kind of gripped up there, and we kind of slowed down too much, but that's all right, because we were able to recoup the last bit of points. I think we got like 125,000 points, which is actually pretty solid. 125,964 points and another 6,000 point bonus, so that's pretty good. All right, here we go, boys. We've got Highway Code in the Drift Yosemite. We're going to try to keep this car as smooth as possible. It is a bit slower, but I still think we'll be able to get some good points, so let's go. First, get that boost on go. Go, get a little bit of momentum, and then we're right into the drift. We're gonna not pull as much angle as we should yet, just so that way we can get a little bit of speed, get a little bit of momentum, and now we can do a nice wide transition. And then here we're gonna go back into the angle again, not throwing it really hard. We don't want to have a stupid amount of angle going into this because it's a pretty wide turn and this truck's a little bit slower, so just modulating the angle so you don't lose wheel speed is key. Same thing here, we're going to use the handbrake just so we can essentially clutch dump the truck so that we can get out of a bind really quick. I thought we were going to get that precision drift zone, but we didn't, but that's okay. Here we've got a little bit more momentum, so we can throw a little bit more angle at it, so that way, you know, we can fill all the zones. We lost our multiplier there for a little slight wall tap, but that's okay. Nice and wide here. I just can't rub the wall. I mean, that was barely even a tap, and I lost the multiplier, but we're going to keep it going. 5x multiplier back again. Here we go. We're going to be, again, keeping the manjis going, although this truck is pretty slow. We want to keep the drift going so that way, you know, on these straight sections, we don't, you know, straighten out and, lose our drift. here, around here, we're going to go through this green zone, use the handbrake just to slow the truck down, and essentially clutch dump it to get it out of there. And then we're going to use the handbrake again for a slight adjustment there. Get it real wide for that precision drift. And then here we're going to get into some nice wide manjis once again. Really wide, don't hit the wall and lose the multiplier again. Handbrake for a snappy transition. And yeah, pretty strong finish. So let's see here what we get. We got 85,000 points, and then we got a 4,000 point bonus. So honestly, pretty solid run considering that we're working with a stock drift Yosemite, and yeah, pretty good race. All right, next up we've got one of my favorite drift races. We've got Let Fly, this time around in the Dinka Jester RR. Yet another pretty good car. It's a bit slow, but it is still pretty smooth, so I think we'll get some good points here. Immediately get that boost and start throwing it in. Snappy transition because the turns get a little tight to start with here. Nice and wide using the handbrake just to extend the drift. Again, we use handbrake for a slight precise adjustment to get the butt out. We got both zones there. That was really clean. More manjis through here. And again, this is a pretty slow green zone here. So we only don't use, we only use the handbrake just for those small sections there. I'm messing up my work because I'm so focused on this drifting. But anyway, smooth lines here. Handbrake just to get past that little pylon. That was really smooth. Here we can swing it nice and wide, keep it nice and smooth and clean, only transitioning when we really need to. Gonna hit this zone a little bit shallow right under the wing of this plane. All the way around there, there we go. We're gonna go wide through here, and then this is a bit of a narrow section here, so we're gonna cut it a little inside. We're gonna pull it a little bit angle so that way we don't go to the walls of that tunnel. And then we're back wide. We have a lot more space now to let this thing sing. Use the handbrake just to extend the drift, and then again we're going to use the handbrake just to get around that pole. There we go. Then we're going to go wide again. This is a really technical spot here, going through this green zone. Lots of handbrake just to get it through there. There we go. Nice and clean. Almost hit the edge of that wall there, but we're really good. There we go. Swing it nice and wide here. Nice large transition going under this tunnel. And we're back out all the way to the end of the race. Really wide there. And then snap it back into the finish. That was really, really smooth. So yeah, I think we got good points there. We got 92,000 points, and then we got another bonus there. So almost 100,000 points for one lap. That was really solid. And again, really simple layout. That's why I find it so fun. Alrighty, next up we've got Smoke and Mirrors up in Mirror Park with the Futo GTX. This is a pretty technical track, to be honest. Probably one of the more challenging ones. So if we can get some good points and we don't mess up, then that's a win in my book. So here we go. We're going to start off with the boost just to get some momentum, and immediately we're swinging it. Use the handbrake just to get the car sliding, and then pull a lot of angle in these transitions, get that multiplier up as quickly as we can. Kind of apex that turn there, and here we're going to do the same thing. Kind of hit the apex going into this turn, go really wide here, control the throttle a little bit, and then we're going to snap it back around. Nice and wide transition. Hit this apex here, and then we're going to do another manji, and this time around we're going to do some adjustment with the handbrake. So you're going to use the handbrake there to get it wide, and then hit that inner zone there. There we go. Get it nice and wide going all the way through here, so that way we don't have to transition again. And then here we're going to keep the power up going around this turn, and then we straighten out a little bit, pull out a little bit of angle, so that way we can get some forward momentum. And then here we're going to snap it around with the handbrake. There we go. Just make sure you're keeping the car sideways, because that is kind of a straight road and the car is going to want to grip up, but we're able to keep that going. Go nice and wide through here. Again, kind of hit the apex of this turn. Get the car out wide here, and then what we're going to do is snap it back with the handbrake. A little bit of left foot braking as well, just to get the car wide, just to hit that zone there. Didn't hit that inner zone once again. That's kind of annoying, but it's all right. Keep the car loose, and instead of it, understeering everywhere, we're just going to keep pressing the handbrake. Here we're going to snap it back again. Use the handbrake there, and then swing it a little bit wider. Hit both zones. There we go. Once again, just keeping those manjis going through here. I'm going to use a little bit of the handbrake to adjust to go through this green zone. That way we don't hit those barriers, and then we're good to go. And here we're just going to focus on pulling as much angle as we can, because again, some of these turns can be fairly straight. We're going to snap it back around using the handbrake there, just as kind of a last-ditch effort to prevent the car from gripping up and going off course. We'll swing it really wide here, let off a little bit so we can apex that turn properly. Swing it wide here, and then we're going to go this way because we entered in from the right. We're going to use the handbrake again just to snap the car around. Keep it nice and slow. We were still so close to that zone, but we didn't get the points there. That kind of sucks, but that's all right. Kept it clean regardless. Apex this turn again. Nice wide lines here. Wide transition, and then that'll get us perfectly positioned to be able to swing into this parking lot. Again, using the handbrake to do some small adjustments. Snap it around this pole here. we're going to go through all the way, and then we're going to do some left foot braking just to make sure that we're getting as much angle going through this transition, and then going through here. I'm going to snap it around again using the handbrake just to get that multiplier up. There we go. Here we're going to slow it down a bit by giving the car a bit more angle, so that way we can kind of plan out what we're going to do to hit this zone right there. Got the precision drift zone. We're going to swing it all the way around. Here, because we didn't have enough speed, we weren't able to link that all the way through, so we're going to manji right through here. Use the handbrake to snap the car back around. Swing it really wide there, maximize all those points. Back again, and that is Smoke and Mirrors fully complete. We got some decent points there. 175,000 points with a 8,700 point bonus. Really solid score. Pretty fun lap, pretty technical course, but very, very fun. Alrighty, next up we've got Textile City Limits in the Annis Euros. I'm a big fan of this car, honestly, especially for like the tight adjustments, you know, and keeping the car smooth and controlled. It's really nice. You could just kind of throw it at everything, especially the really nice and tight corners. And that's what this race has a lot of, actually. So immediately getting started with the drifting, throwing it nice and wide going through here, and then this race will get real tight in terms of the turns really quick, so we're going to be using a lot more handbrake. Nice and wide through there, just keeping it nice and simple to start. And then here is where we're going to use a lot more of that handbrake just to get through these narrow sections. Pull out a little bit of angle just to get between those, I don't even know what they were, but here we go. Again, just lots of manjis here just to keep the car nice and controlled. Ooh, pulled out a little bit more angle that I would have wanted there, but that's okay. Nice and wide through there, got the precision drift. Here we're going to swing it nice and wide, and then we're going to swing it wide here. Use a handbrake just to get close to that precision zone, and then again, we've got a lot more momentum, so to restrict that momentum and also to help keep the car's power controlled, we're going to be using a lot more handbrake. Use the handbrake once again. There we go. Didn't get the precision drift zone there, but that's okay. More handbrake again for those nice, quick, snappy transitions. Going through here. Nice and smooth, nice and wide, so that way we don't have to transition all the time. Going through here, we're going to use the handbrake just to slow ourselves down a bit. Nice and wide through there. Yeah, there we go. Nice and smooth. And then we're going to use the handbrake again to extend the drift around that obstacle there. Wide through here. And once again, we're going to tighten it up a little bit and use the handbrake just to get through this green zone. Almost like a slalom zone. Use the handbrake for those micro adjustments. Don't get too much momentum. I almost messed up there, but that's okay. There we go. Nice and clean exit there. Swinging it really wide just to finish out this race. We got really good points there, I think. There we go. Yeah, man. Euros was real snappy, real nice, especially for a race like this. It was a good pick. Got 100,000 points and then a 5,000 point bonus. So for one lap, that was a pretty solid run. Here we go, boys. We got wide berth this time with the G35, the Fathom FR36. This thing's kind of a boat. It's got a soft suspension. It's a little spongy, but I still think we'll be able to manage. So first, as you guys know, we're going to hit that boost start, get some momentum going, and immediately we're going to get it right into the drifting. Going to use some left foot braking to start just to like get the car sideways, and that way we can keep the lines nice and smooth and wide. Here we go. We're going to snap it back around, use the handbrake just to extend the drift right past that pole. There we go. We slowed down a bit there, but we're still able to get it around that and get the precision drift score, which is good. Nice and wide transitions through here. Don't need to rely a lot on the handbrake to get it through there, which is nice because they're nice and wide. We have a lot more space. Here we're going to use the handbrake just for precise adjustments, just so we can get it towards that zone back there. Snap it back around, and here we're going to use a lot more handbrake just to get it through this green zone, get that multiplier up. Nice and wide transitions, again using the handbrake to snap the car back around. And then here we're going to take an interesting line. We're going to swing it right here to get the butt out towards that precision drift zone, and then we're going to go right back into those wide, long, sweeping transitions. Here we're going to use the handbrake just to get the car loose and kind of apex that turn. Get it real wide here. Again, a little bit of the handbrake for a precise adjustment. Then we're going to do the same thing once again here. There we go, nice and clean. Then we're going to keep it really wide. Use a little bit of left foot braking just to keep the car controlled at angle. And then we're going to get the butt out just a little bit further here so we can get past this precision drift zone. Got that score. And then here's just a nice wide zone just worth of manjis. Swing it back and forth, nice and smooth as we possibly can. Here we're going to left foot brake just a bit so we can kind of get past that pole there. Weren't able to get the precision drift zone, but that's okay. Swing it really wide, and then we're going to use the handbrake so we can approach this green zone going the right way and maintain our speed all the way through it. Snap it back around, go wide all the way through here, and we're going to snap it back to the finish. That was pretty good considering how boaty the FR36 is. I still think we did pretty solid. 123,000 points, 6,100 point bonus. So yeah, pretty solid score for just a one lap run. So that is a wrap on my controller camera gameplay of all of the new drift races in GTA Online. As always, I hope this video was helpful in providing you guys with some more details on how to actually drift with the new physics, as well as some theory behind planning out your lines as best as possible. Once again, thank you guys all so much for your support. The channel's been going absolutely crazy lately, and I appreciate everybody's positivity. I'm gonna keep this going for as long as I possibly can by making the best content possible, so stick around for the channel because I've got some good banger videos dropping very soon. Thank you guys all so much for watching once again, and have an awesome rest of your day.